Hi. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. So you might take your seats now. I hope you enjoyed your coffee break. And right now we're going to move to the last session for today, which are key conclusions. So basically you'll be able to hear what other rooms discussed about. And right now I will pass the floor to Manuela from European Commission so she can better explain what will we do. And she will also host the session, so please.
Welcome back. Can you hear me? Yes. So I just realized that year after year, I always put myself in this challenge, which is to keep your attention until almost the very end of the forum and from what, separate you from enjoying the drink and then going back home. But the advantage of this year is that this session is called Key Conclusions. So what is the key? The key actually is a tool which can open, which can close. We have the afternoon session open in this dramatic way with the performance by the young people with the cage there. So perhaps we will have a key to release. Let's see. So the first part will be basically to hear back from representative of key participants, group of people, stakeholders, as we call them, about the discussion in the various sessions, and there will also be a report from the online session. So let's start with Liudas from the Safer Internet Center from Lithuania, who will summarize a little bit what are the key conclusions from the group. Just reminding that basically all tables, all rooms were discussing about, possible and better safety, measures from the platforms or also other stakeholders, then, children of today and children of tomorrow in case of this ban will take place. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the floor, and I have to admit from the start that it's super hard to summarize hours and hours of discussions at the different tables, but I'll try to be very quick to give the key points, and I'm sure there are lots of great ideas still in the room, so for sure mingle after or in other events to find out more. But the biggest point that we touched in our tables was about this immediate ban versus restriction. So no one really wants the ban. It's kind of a big red flag, and we should proceed with age restrictions kind of gradually. So we should perhaps, for those who already have accounts, have them continue using and with caution and understanding the risks, while for those who are gonna be users in, let's say, 2035, and they grow up with certain restrictions that they don't create the accounts, then we don't create the new accounts for the very young users. And then the discussion went towards this gradual transition period, so to say. So the earliest users would have apps that are much lighter than the normal social media apps that we are used to, a bit like YouTube Kids or Netflix for kids, where the users have some amount of protections. Maybe parents get to see what the users are doing, and then gradually have more and more independence, understanding the risks. And then another very important point was education. So clearly bans and restrictions don't work without education and understanding those risks, because we hear again and again that there are a lot of people who are very determined to bypass the restrictions, find ways to connect to something that is not allowed for them to do, and I'm sure that there are always these curious people. So without education, bans or restrictions don't work. And in terms of education, we came up with lots of different approaches, and I must say that the Safer Internet Centers are doing a lot of them. There are education initiatives, but maybe some creative ways to add some more education could be in the apps themselves, that when children and young people start to use the app, they could actually learn something inside the app that, something bad can happen, or there could be some kind of content that you are not ready to see, how you should react and how you should deal with that. One idea was some kind of test that maybe in schools or in some place young people could get the skills required to deal with the risks that are coming from social media or being online, so to say, like a driver's license, but for the internet. And then very important aspect was safety by design. So to prevent the most harmful content, that is like the dopamine addiction apps, brain rot apps, AI algorithms that really suck you in. So these tools should be kind of more regulated or banned for the restricted for those who are very young. And in the end, I think that talking about the future, 2035, a lot of people imagine that the future would be much brighter, really in good colors, maybe less addiction, more meaningful content, more creators, not just influencers, but everyone creating, and also people spending more time with their friends in real life as well as online.
Thank you. Thank you for this very... Thank you for this very comprehensive start of reporting back. While you were speaking, I could really recognize a lot of key ideas and concepts also discussed in my group. But now I would like to ask to Maja if she recognized also, in Liudas' report what you discussed, or, what was then the main conclusion for your group?
Thank you. So yeah, I agree. There are like many similar things actually with the driver's license exam. I think that's a really creative idea, by the way. But we mostly focused on the safety by design. So who is responsible for the safety? Should it be children? Not really. Should it be parents? Also not really. But the platforms who should be responsible for the safety and the design. So basically when they were designing the social media, I suppose that they weren't really thinking about the children using it. So now when the children and young people hop onto the social media and create their accounts, the design is not really friendly for them. And they can find there many examples of harmful content that can affect them. And we also discussed how it can affect them, what is like the real things that they feel and what are the consequences. We also discussed the accounts and the settings. Should they be set by default, or should like young children have private accounts or stuff like that? And yeah, and mostly the responsibility for the what happens online, and the platforms should really find a way to create a better space and safer space for children and young people, because there are many positive things that they can gain from social media, but there are also the negative aspects that can affect them. We also discussed what can be the positive aspects and what actually young people can gain. Also, another important part was the education, the importance of education, who should be educated. The young children, young people, and the parents, they should have some knowledge on how everything works there and how they can prevent it, because like when they build like some kind of immunity, they know what to do. And when they don't know what to do, when they find harmful content online, who should they turn to? Where should they report it? And also the whole reporting system, because we feel like it's not very effective, and it could be done better so that the feedback is also really there and that they can improve. So I think that's mostly what we discussed in our room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maja, also for mentioning the critical point of reporting. Also in our group, we discussed it, and it was quite interesting because while, the young people, they start seeing a bit of improvement on some services. Apparently it's a bit less difficult to report. Then the Swedish Safer Internet Center shares some results from a recent research, which say that if indeed then the children and young people, they report more and more easily, the parents, they don't report. So it's also then again a matter of also, digital literacy and better also education towards the parents on the tools available on the platforms, not only. But now we can perhaps ask directly a parent representative, even a grandparent representative, what else it was discussing during the parallel session. So Marina, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, I have to say that all these groups and all what has said, it seems to be a very unified group. And what in our groups we took as the first point was that a holistic approach is needed, and that I think we can hear from the others also, because it's all the same things we have been discussing. And in that way involve all actors more, and also so that everyone brings their part into this work. And then more support tools are needed, for instance for parents, exactly like you said, that in reporting young people are getting better on that, but not the adults, not the parents. So maybe some peer-to-peer and education is needed to all involved. And then something what rose from all the groups was that more responsibility on the platforms and those who develop. And there was also discussions about age-appropriate content, safety by design and default. To say something positive, so it was also seen that some small changes can be seen, but not enough still. And then there was also discussions about that enforce more the responsibility and more strongly. And then there was discussions about bans. And it was the view that the focus at the moment on the bans are more from the risks and not from the solution side. So maybe that's something to take from here, to start thinking more in the solutions aspect. And then it was, I think it was from Croatia, I don't know if she's here, but she said something really good about the future. What does it, oh, there you are. That, how does it, and if I say this totally wrong, please correct me. So I think it was really nice that what would be missed if social media wasn't here in 10 years? Maybe you said that maybe it's the cat videos or not. But how would the world look like at that time? So maybe I will end my note there. Thank you very much. It's been a privilege.
Thanks, Marina. And then since we were in the same group, also, it was also very interesting to see how the young people are really committed and are thinking about solution and would like also to help us in planning better. Also, with some concrete suggestions. For instance, think about those, the part of the population who is already suffering from addiction. Do you have a plan? Do you have budget in order then also to offer support? And in this transition, in case that then we have, and we hope that we are going in any case towards a better model. But we still have one more group to report. Is the group from Hans, so the coordinator of the network of the Safer Internet Center and also the organizer of today. And it was moderated the online session just because we were all in the room the whole day, enjoying all the facilities and the networking and the food, but there were a large majority online, and so they also had their discussion moderated by Hans. So Hans, please share with us the key conclusions from the group.
Okay, here we go. So indeed, while you are having cozy conversations with 7, 8 people around the table, we were trying to manage an online meeting room with more than 100 people also trying to bring in their views. So luckily, I did not have to do it on my own. So I had Ishani from the Youth Advisory Group, who was my sidekick. And based also on the people who have registered, we had identified a number of mini panelists, so not because they were very small, but because we tried to cover each of the 3 areas, each time starting from Ishani's view, but then also the view of some of the experts who were identified. There was a lot of discussion from the panelists, but then also from the other people in the room. So I'll just highlight a couple of points, starting from the children of today. The feeling actually was, and that was coming from the researcher in the room, that we need to be careful when we talk about the evidence, because he felt that the evidence on impact is often quite weak and it's very complex. So that's not to say that there is no impact at all, but it's something which is really difficult to grasp. So we need to look at both the positives, the negatives, and we need to also accept that some of this is very individual. So what may be true for one particular child will not be true at all for many others. So that's something to reflect on when we start adding certain types of restrictions. Looking into the approaches in terms of online safety design. So Ishani in particular was giving a lot of examples of the kind of things that she was hoping for in terms of some of the defaults. There was a lot of reference also to the need to think also about children and young people from a privacy point of view, thinking about the data which are being collected on them, and that this should not happen for business purposes. Also a lot of talk about the need for more transparency to better understand how the algorithms work. And I think there was a call for companies to be more ambitious, so not just to comply with the rules, but to do even better. And there was also this idea that we should probably also differentiate with age, in the sense that you may want to control for the very young ones, but then as the young people get older, they should have the liberty also to make mistakes, to experiment, to do things, regardless of maybe what sometimes the parents would feel. We also had a regulator in the room from the Digital Services Coordinator, and we also talked a bit about the DSA. So I think generally the feeling was that this is really a big step forward, and that there is a need to have a streamlined approach across Europe. But there was also the feeling that we need to give the DSA and Martin and his colleagues time. So the rules are now there. We need to take some time to look at the results. And the feeling in the room was that perhaps the situation currently is not sufficiently mature to now start adding additional restrictions beyond what is already possible within the context of the DSA. And I think that's also a call to wait also a bit what's happening in Australia, let the evaluation do its work, and then see if indeed these kind of developments have an impact, both positive, negative. And there was also the feeling that in any case, it's not just about technology, it's not about regulation, it's also about education, it's about communication. And then to finish off, looking ahead in 10 years of time. So the panelists gave me a couple of good quotes, so please don't quote me on it. So it's them who have been saying that. First of all, there was this point being made that early on in the day, someone said, we feel we are at a point where we need to tell to young people that they are not ready yet for social media. So it was a bit the feeling that this is not a really good starting point. Like, the point you should make is that social media are not ready for the young people. So that's, I think, to turn it around a bit. Then there was also the feeling, and this was actually coming mostly from the adults, that the adults maybe should acknowledge that they have created a bit of a mess, and as a result of the mess, they now panic. And the first thing they then do is they look at restrictions, and they end up locking children, young people out. But I guess that's a bit of a call to action for us to also rethink our role within this context. And there was a clear call to avoid simplistic solutions, and then last but not least, to trust the young people. So if we talk about the way forward, we should really do a better job listening to them and building these kind of solutions together with them.
Thank you, Hans, also for, succeeding the challenge of moderating such a big group and even, getting very complementary views and quotes, I would say. And with this, unless there are urgent needs, burning needs from the room to complement what has been said by the reporter, if not, we can move really in the second and last part of this session, which is really a bit to look ahead and to think if you have now to pack and you don't have a very big suitcase, what you can really put in it, leaving the forum from the day of today. So the forum of today was a bit around the Hamletic question, to ban or not to ban. More than discussing arms like we had done in the past, I think that we were really very open in having a conversation and listening to many stakeholders and primarily the children about their expectations, but also their concerns about how, the society and their daily life could look like, if then we move in that direction. And so I would like to start with Maja, as a representative of the young people. For instance, in my group, I heard that there was a bit of concern that, the blame is like put, then on the young people. It's something that you are not doing right, and so now we need to react. So, in a nutshell, what do you think that, is the views of the young people and what you would like to bring home and to think that could be a next step?
So I think, first of all, we're facing a really complex issue here because we're discussing the ban solution, but I think we should reflect a bit, is it really the best solution? I mean, we've heard today about really, really nice insights from the Big Youth panel and also from my friends from the Youth Advisory Group. And I feel like it gives you a bit of view on the situation, how do we see it? And also that the young people really want to engage in the discussion and really want to join and express themselves. What do we think? Because we are the main group that will be affected by the ban. So the thing that I would like to reflect on is what really social media is to us teenagers, because I feel like it's so much more than just an app on our phone or apps in general. I feel like it's a bigger part of our everyday lives, and there are of course some bad things that can happen online, but also some benefits that we can get by using social media. For example, we can kind of explore and try to find ourselves, because I feel like being a teenager is really about finding who we are, what do we like, and what do we want to do in the future. So we can try to find some other people that share our interests, or just learn some really important skills that can be used later on in life, like communication or problem solving, or how to deal with all the things that happen online that are bad, but we still have to deal with them because they are there and they can affect us. The online bad content can really affect us, the harmful content, the adult content, and sometimes we might just view it and scroll away, but sometimes it can really point something inside us and it stays with us for a longer time. So I think there are many risks, but let's say the ban happens tomorrow and you just take it all away from us and we don't really have the space anymore to express ourselves, but also the space to grow and to try to learn something new. So I feel like, as was said before today, the teens and children, we're kind of really like breaking the rules, getting the stuff that we really want, even though you're saying to us that no, we shouldn't. But if we feel that something is interesting and we want to do it, we're going to do it anyway. So I think the better option here is the discussion, because the ban may be the easiest option, but it will be just tackling the issue away, putting it in a drawer and forgetting about it. But the dangers, they still might be out there. And when we join social media, let's say we turn 16, we go in there, and the whole world, all the dangers, they are still there. So we're still exposed to them, but we don't have the skills. So that's why I also think the education here is very important. And yeah, we should just reflect on what social media really is to the children, what would be taking away from us, and also that the role of young people in this discussion is really important, because we will be the ones affected by the issue. May I just add one thing? Yes.
Sure.
So I feel like there was also said about decreasing mental state of young people. I think that's also really an important thing and really big problem. But is it only connected to the social media? I feel like it can be also connected to the general things that are going on in the world. And I feel like we live in the times of a big uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, like, even though we know, but we still get this feeling. And I think there also another thing to highlight and to reflect on is the AI, because it is with us. We use it every day. But what will it become of it? It keeps growing, it keeps going faster, and we use it. But I feel like sometimes we just can forget that it is just a tool and not our life advisor. So again, I think we should just stop for a second, reflect how it can affect us, how it can affect the environment, and just use it responsibly.
Thank you, Maja, and I think that you should really buy a bigger size suitcase, because you have a lot of takeaway now to bring home. Huh? No, and thanks for sharing them with us. Very insightful, really. Thank you. Now, I would like to go to Liudas in his quality of representative of the Safer Internet Center network. At the Commission, we used to say that you are our ears and eyes, because you are really on the ground. You are so close then with the children and young people, with the parents, with the educators. So what do you think, in the light of all the discussion of today, what could be the next steps, and what is also needed, for your work to support and for a better internet?
That's a very good question. And I want to start by saying that as being these arms and ears and so on, we get to be in touch with the society, and I can say that society is very, very complex. So it's always very hard to find out one solution or one thing that works. And I think that all my colleagues from our Safer Internet Centers agree that there is so many approaches, and all of them are correct or make sense in some way. But I think that what I can take away from this event or be inspired about is that we, I think most of the Safer Internet Centers, we work with the young people. We have youth panels, and we always try to get feedback from young people and apply that in the maybe giving feedback to you, maybe sometimes teaching the teachers, because we also have some contact with teachers. And I think that facilitation of dialogue or trialogue or multi-part conversation is very, very important, because we hear the perspective from the side that is being affected by the decisions that are being made, and then we try to educate the ones who are maybe spending a lot of time with our children, and try to create this solution that can be, or many solutions that can be implemented along the way. I think that the youth engagement doesn't end with just meeting them or spending a little bit of time together. So I also think that a great idea is to go to schools maybe or some education institutions, as we also touched that in the discussions previously, that education is not only the teachers teaching or parents teaching, but it can be also peer-to-peer learning. It can be various kinds of sharing. So this education also can happen, of course, on social media or some kind of tools. But the way that we encourage youth to share and to communicate is by going to schools, and sometimes we are getting involved to kind of make a lesson together. Sometimes we encourage the youth to go and organize their own lesson or activity. And I think that really makes a difference, that, you know, it's a lot about repetition and a lot about who says or who gives the message. So sometimes teachers say one thing and it doesn't really stick, and then someone from your peers say the same thing, and then it sticks really well because you know that someone maybe had the same situation or had the same experience. So I think that if there is one thing that maybe makes sense is youth engagement and youth collaboration in terms of peer-to-peer learning.
Thank you, Liudas, to you and also to the network of the Internet Center that today you have the pleasure to represent, because you are really, you have this pivotal role as well in connecting with the people, but also then in connecting with us. And notably now you also have this big responsibility of supporting the implementation of the legal framework, the Digital Service Act. So I take this occasion also to remind people, if you have not grabbed your copies yet of the guidelines on the DSA, the booklet, now is available in all languages. Please do, because that is one example again in which, the Safer Internet Center together with the big platform can really, reach, and make also the citizen more aware of their rights under the new instrument. And now we come to the last panelist, and it's really a pleasure to have here Marina today in this role of both parent and grandparent. And while I'm stressing it, even as a parent, because I'm a parent and even, we are not that far, she's not a deep fake, by the way. She's real and she's a grandmother, yes. I think we are both from that generation which knew then the car seat bell, moment, and how it was really a shift. So, coming from there, so that, you already know how, in society, in real, world has changed. How do you see then things evolving, and what do you think that, what we can do after as parents or grandparents to support the children in the digital world and not only in their life in general?
What a difficult question. But, yes, I do remember the time when there was no seatbelts in the car. And what I think we should do as parents, grandparents, guardians, carers, first, learn it yourself so that you can teach it to the children, to the young people. And I would also say that as an adult, it should be important for us as parent, grandparent, carer, to listen to the young people and also take them with in the life. Like I said, I think I said in my statement before that it's no different. I, as a parent, grandparent, I want to be sure that my children, my grandchildren, are safe in the real world. The same applies to the digital world. So I think that the most important thing we need to do is learn, listen, and then try to find a balance between the digital world with the physical world and be active with our children and young people. And I think that's the most important thing. And what I think that what we can see in the future, that if we take an approach where we listen to all those involved, all the industries, all the children, all the young people, all the regulators. So I am quite sure that it's possible to find a golden way. It might take a long time. I have worked with maternal health for quite a while, and we still talk about the same issues. So, but I think that it's important to just keep going. Thank you. And
thank you, and really, I think balance was a bit the key word, yes. And so, again, thanks for sharing, your experience and your engagement as well. And with this, I will call for a last round of applause for the panelists. Thank you.